Let's talk about Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes, this team just lost to the Atlanta Falcons 30-36 in overtime, but it's not the end of the world. I still think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in a good situation. Yes, it sucks to lose to a division rival in the Atlanta Falcons, but this team was in a tough situation last season. They made the NFL playoffs. I think what's going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now, they're not healthy. I don't think, matter of fact, I know. Their defense is dealing with so many injuries, but one major injury, Antoine Winfield. And I want to start off with the defense. Their defense has been very inconsistent. They had a great game against the Detroit Lions, especially in the red zone when they won that game. They went in there, they controlled the line of scrimmage, they put a lot of pressure on Jared Goff, and Todd Bowles was able to blitz him for majority of the game, and they did not have an answer for it. We saw the same thing happen last week against Jalen Hurts. He always struggles against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Todd Bowles' defensive system. I will say this, the Eagles were dealing with a lot of injuries. No Devontae Smith, no A.J. Brown, but regardless, we've seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go out there and handle business against them when they were fully healthy. So let's give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers credit for that. Their defense, they need Antoine Winfield. They blitz so much to put pressure on the opposing quarterback, and they really don't have a choice but to. Yaya Diaby is a very good pass rusher, led the team in sacks last season. This is his sophomore season. He's not there just yet as being one of the best edge rushers in the NFL, but the potential is there. When I look at Joe, they selected him in the first round a couple of years ago. He hasn't been a bad football player, but he's been a bit underwhelming. He has been able to go back there and put consistent pressure on the quarterback. So what does Todd do? He blitzes even more. They had 4 sacks against Kirk Cousins in the Atlanta Falcons. And when your secondary is fully healthy, you can blitz a lot because Antoine Winfield can cover so much ground with his speed and his ability to recognize certain plays. The downside is this: when he's out of the game or when he's not fully 100% on the field, your cornerbacks as a whole, they can't go out there and play press man coverage the entire game. And we have seen this against the Denver Broncos, and we have saw that tonight against the Atlanta Falcons. They give up a lot of big plays, and it's putting more pressure on Baker Mayfield and crew. And when the opposing team goes out there and they're winning by time of possession, you're not going to win that football game. It's almost impossible. Not only are they dealing with injury on the defensive side, they're dealing with injuries on the offensive side as well. But when I look at the defense and they're fully healthy, they're going to be okay. Their secondary was one of the worst secondaries in the NFL last season, and they're still headed towards that direction. Todd has to do a better job of finding ways to help out the secondary. And the players up front, they have to go out there and they have to push the pocket. It's more than just Vita Vea. It's more than just Yaya Diaby. They're missing Kalijah Kancey, who was a very good player last season. He missed time last season, and he has yet to play a snap this season in the NFL. They need him because when you have him and Vita Vea, they're not going to go out there and get massive sacks. But what they do, they eat up double teams, and you have both of them. This defense is already good against stopping the run. They had a great day today against the Falcons in terms of stopping the run and containing the run. But when you have both of those guys that can eat up double teams, now Yaya Diaby and Joe, they're in situations to where they can be in one-on-one coverage with the tackles. They can just swing around on blitzes as well. So they need Kalijah Kancey. They're going to need Antoine Winfield as well. They're going to need those guys. Levante David is one of the best linebackers in the NFL in coverage, tackles as well. He has been so good since they drafted him. One of the best linebackers in Tampa Bay Buccaneers history. You look at KJ Britt, you know what he is at this point in his career. Solid tackler, can go out there and make plays for you, but he's not going to go out there and get you double-digit sacks either. They have good players. Their best players right now are just dealing with injuries on that side of the ball. Jordan Whitehead has had a lot of good moments in the past underneath Coach Bowles, but he's no Antoine Winfield. Very solid, good safety with the New York Jets. Has been very good in the system with Coach Todd. I just look at him. He is what he is. Not a bad safety. But when you look at Antoine Winfield, that kid is an elite safety, and he's one of the best cover safeties in the NFL. I will say this about their cornerbacks. Zion McCollum isn't terrible. He's a young player. The organization is high on him. He's going to have to be better and be more consistent moving forward. Jamel Dean as well. Not a terrible cornerback, but he's their number 1 cornerback. Not the ideal guy to have to go out there and guard opposing number 1 wide receivers. They're not bad. I'm not saying that, but they're not the best cornerbacks to have at the number 1 and number 2 spot. Tyke Smith, there's a lot of upside there with him. But I look at Zion McCollum. Yes, he has an interception and 6 pass deflections on the season. I think that he will get better moving forward. Offensively, Baker Mayfield has been phenomenal. He's playing like a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. The man had 3 touchdowns tonight against the Atlanta Falcons. What more can he do? When you look at Baker Mayfield in the first 5 games of the season, 11 passing touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. And yes, he had a bad game against the Detroit Lions. The entire team did. For one, Luke Gadecki went down in that game, and the offense hasn't looked the same since in terms of running the football on a consistent basis. And the running and the rushing stats of the team aren't that bad. They had a very good day-to-day in terms of running the football against the Falcons. It just hasn't been consistent because Luke Gadecki can do so much on the right side of the field, and they're missing him a lot. I have to give Baker Mayfield a lot of credit. I've said a lot of bad things about him in the past before he joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's found a true home. The man got sacked 4.5 times against Aiden Hutchinson. That man alone tried to go out there and wreck the game. And Baker Mayfield was able to go out there, run around, make crazy plays, and just keep the ball game close and gave them the edge over the top. Baker Mayfield has played very well. The defense just has to step up. I like what Coach Lim is doing. He's finding ways to use motion to get this run game going. If we go back and look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the last couple of years, since Ryan Jensen first went down with that knee injury, he has now retired. Wish him nothing but the best. But their rushing department hasn't been good. It's been in the bottom of the league. Now when you look at it, you add in Bucky Irving, who did have a crucial fumble today against the Falcons, but he has had some nice moments. He's going to be the #1 running back on this team in due time. You also have Rashard White as well. That's a very good running back tandem. I like both of those guys coming out of the backfield. The wide receivers, need I say less about these guys, man? Mike Evans is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Chris Godwin is phenomenal in his own right. Cade Otton is a very good, solid tight end to have. But besides Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, majority of the receivers are hurt. They had to call up Sterling Shepard from the practice squad. That's not the ideal situation. Yes, he has good chemistry with Baker Mayfield. They were college teammates. Sterling Shepard was very good when he was in the NFL with the New York Giants for the first couple of years, but he's dealt with so many injuries, it's only so much he can give you. And yes, he caught a touchdown pass today from Baker Mayfield. That's fine. He's not going to be the true #3 wide receiver. They have Trey Palmer, who's dealing with an injury right now. Jalen as well. He's dealing with an injury. You have those wide receivers who can come in and they can stretch the field, especially Trey Palmer. He's a very good football player. Jalen is a rookie. He's a very good football player as well. Both of those guys are dealing with injuries right now. And you add that on top of Luke Gadecki being out as well. It's just going to be one of those situations to where you think, how will this offense fully look at the half or the back half of the season? Just like how things were last season. It wasn't all sunshines and rainbows for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last season. So if you're concerned about this loss against the Atlanta Falcons, I fully understand it. And you lost to the Falcons. It's not like you lost to one of the worst teams in the NFL. It's not like you lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. You lost to a team that has high playoff aspirations, just like how you do. But when I look at the Buccaneers, they have the right quarterback. You have the right offensive coordinator. The only thing that I'm concerned about are the injuries and the defense as a whole. Because if this defense continues to give up big plays over and over again, you're forcing Baker Mayfield to go out there and win shootouts. And that's almost impossible to do on a week-to-week basis. Look at what happened tonight against the Falcons. Baker Mayfield did not even touch the football. He did not even touch the football in overtime, and they lost. And I will say this about Baker Mayfield. Even though he has played very well, Mike Evans was wide open late in the fourth quarter. It was a screen play. They wanted to run clock, but across the middle of the field, it would have went for 30 yards. If he hits Mike Evans, that ends the game. And we're talking about a different conversation here. I know the screen was the primary read, but when I look at Baker Mayfield, sometimes you just have to look down the field, just give it a glance and just throw it and trust your guy. And Mike Evans was phenomenal today. He had 2 receiving touchdowns. They did go conservative in the fourth quarter with Coach Lim. I understand why they did that. They trusted more in their defense. I don't know why Todd continues to do this, because this defense right now, secondary wise, they're not that good. They're giving up big plays. And you had Kirk Cousins, who had a red hot hand. Why would you give him more opportunities? They went down there. They played conservative. They kicked the field goal. They depended on their defense. And it was just too late. The defense just could not get in the groove at the end of the game. I would have went more aggressive with Baker Mayfield, who was willing and dealing the entire day and has been the main consistent player with their team. In general, besides Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, Baker Mayfield has been on fire so far. So I would put the ball in his hands and say, you know what? I trust in my offense. But that is what defensive coaches do. They trust in their defense more than they trust in their offense. I understand why Coach did it. Hindsight's 2020. I'm not going to fully blame him for this loss because the cornerback should have made the tackle. There's no way that Hodge should have just did a catch and goes up the field for that many yards and ices out the game. He trusts his defense. They just have to be better. But this is not a Baker Mayfield issue, and this is not an offensive coordinator issue. They moved off of Dave Canale has moved off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to become the head coach with the Carolina Panthers. They bring in Coach Liam. He comes in from the Sean McVay tree. Looks very good so far. This is one of the better offenses in the NFL. Yes, they had a bad game against the Denver Broncos, but it's going to happen. Besides that, the offense has gelled very well, and now you give Baker Mayfield a consistent run game, and we have seen him in the past when he was with the Cleveland Browns. When he had a strong run game, he can be a top quarterback in the NFL, especially in this division. I still think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sit atop this division. It's with the Atlanta Falcons. You also have the Saints in the background as well. The one thing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have yet to go out there and have in fighting within this division, within these first 5 games. And what I mean by that, the Falcons, they beat the New Orleans Saints. They just came out on top against the Buccaneers. Now they sit on top of the division. The Buccaneers, they don't have a division win just yet because they haven't had the chance to go out there and win one of those games besides tonight. When I look at the Saints, they went out there and they destroyed the Carolina Panthers in week 1. And the Panthers, they play a huge part in this division as well. Yes, they only have 1 win, but you know how these things go. If we come late into the season, you have to beat the Carolina Panthers to go out there and possibly make the NFL playoffs. They can screw you over because now they have Andy Dalton at their quarterback position and he can cause problems. But I still think that Baker Mayfield can go out there and he can really slice up every single last one of these defenses in this division, just like how he did today against the Falcons. But give the Atlanta Falcons a lot of credit. This is going to be a fun ride to see who can win this division for this upcoming season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have dominated over the last couple of years. We'll see if they can continue to tread in that direction. But at the end of the day, I want to hear from you guys. Who do you have winning this division long term? And are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in trouble? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.